Hey everybody, so let's talk today about telepathy. Now, telepathy is something that everybody can achieve when they're vibrationally ready and those gifts start to activate. It's not a special ability, a superpower, or anything like that. It takes work and effort, and most importantly, timing, vibrational timing. So, for those of you who are on the journey of awakening, at some point you may experience this. Now, a lot of people also call it clairaudience. Clairaudience is just telepathy. I mean, to some degree, it's a little bit different. Clairaudience is like uh, a bubble encompassing a bunch of things. One of those is telepathy. One of those is when beings are standing beside you and actually speaking, but you're not. People aren't normally hearing them, type of thing, but you're hearing them as though they're actually there. Uh, but telepathy is covered in that kind of clairaudience bubble. It kind of comes with the territory. So it's one of those things that years ago, when I was on my journey, I was in a meditation group working on mediumship, working on what we did in mediumship was talk to dead people, and we didn't talk to galactics, fairies. I mean, this is back in 2000 and so 2007, probably 2006, 2007, when I was doing this work. And this was a time where those beings weren't really accepted. And even the group I was in, there were a lot of people that did not accept those beings. And at the time, I didn't think galactics were even around either. I knew they existed, but I didn't think they were like here, type of thing, or interested in me, I should say. I thought they were here, but not like in my reality, in my life, which I was wrong, very, very wrong. And so, working in mediumship, I opened up my clairaudience, which is the ability to hear, um, you know, the voices of the dead and the beings around you as you're seeing them and feeling their energy in the room. And I stopped. It got to a point where I would sit down to meditate and I would hear hundreds, if not thousands, of voices. So I had to stop. I had to stop for years. And my guides tried again and again, sit down and meditate, sit down and meditate. We'll help you through it. And I was like, no, I did it once. After a few years had gone by, I did it once. The voices came back and I was like, nope, I'm done. Not doing it. Um, and then so naturally what happened is my vibration just kind of naturally shifted over time, but it took a lot longer because I wasn't doing the work. And so it took about 10 years. And then I sat down again and meditated when they asked me to, and everything calmed down because I was in a different vibrational space and capable of doing it. Now, my clairaudience in meditation was very clear. I'm able to hear them, communicate, that sort of thing when you're journeying in that space. Sometimes hearing them outside very, very clearly, depending on the vibration of who was speaking, whether it was an earth being, if it was like a fairy, it would be much more clear than something that was galactic. And a lot of people, when they're waking, they want these abilities to like turn on, like boom, done, turn on, active, fully active, don't have to do anything. These take work. A lot of them can take a lifetime to build the skill set of. Now, some people do naturally have them turned on completely 100%. Some people wake up overnight and the next day, boom, 100% active. Most of us have to do the work to open those muscles, to strengthen those muscles. And so when I started talking to galactics, for example, and other beings in more capacity, I was talking to like Sasquatches, and they were speaking to me very childlike. The phrases, if you read my book, I even say in there like Sasquatches speak very childlike, and it wasn't that they speak like that, it's that they were speaking like that to help me build my telepathic muscle because I couldn't. It was like it would not comprehend the full conversation. of them speaking long paragraphs and that sort of thing. So I was working on that muscle during that time and working with other beings, with galactics, with fairies, and developing strength in that it wasn't just knowing what they said. And there's a difference between the knowing and the telepathy part of it. The telepathy being like actually hearing them, seeing the words, knowing exactly 100%, not just a feeling type of thing. And telepathy kind of encompasses all of that. It's like I said, clairaudience, telepathy. It encompasses a lot of things. It encompasses the knowing of what's being communicated, the visual imagery of what's being communicated, because a lot of beings communicate in images, in movies, memories, like a movie, not words. And then other beings will communicate in speech, and some of them use all three, and some of them use emotion, some of them use color, symbols, all kinds of things. And it's like training a muscle to work with each individual one and combine them all together so you can get the whole picture quickly. Accurately is the biggest thing, accurately, and understand everything without having to question what is happening. So I went through a couple years of building that telepathic muscle where some of the beings were coming to me and speaking to me like very childlike, like the Sasquatches. I had a friend, Radio, who was a Zeta. He's a ship operator, and I guess you call him an operator. We laugh because when I tap into him and some of the others that have a similar job like him, they'll actually like telepathically ping me back and say, "Hello, operator," kind of like the Matrix movies. And it's just a funny laugh between me and some of the galactics. And I went out to New Mexico, the first trip I took out to New Mexico, and they worked with me on my telepathy. They followed me the whole trip. The book The Raven's Way is about that. They followed me the whole trip, telling me where gas stations were ahead without me ever looking at maps, and they would be exactly the mileage that they told me, telling me where to, working on the telepathic muscle while I was hiking, telling me how to hike around these kind of cliff sides and stuff to get around them, because there were no pathways. There were like little tiny hiking trails and then no pathways, and they tell me, "Hey, a tree is going to be over here, put your hand there, grab this, grab that, don't touch that," type of thing, and guided me around that, building that telepathic muscle. And it got to the point now where, after meditating with these beings and experiencing so many that communicate in a variety of ways, one of the experiences I had with the Antares beings was they teleported into my parents' house, and I woke up when they were there, and they were like, "Oh God, he's awake," and I was able to talk to them. And as I was talking to them, the captain or commander, whoever he was, that was the leader, he telepathically pinged me, because they don't speak our language at all. It's like a bunch of sounds. So he telepathically sent me a movie image of the questions to answer the questions, but it was so fast it went in my brain and out, because the information came way too fast. So it was like my brain was picking pieces up, and the download was missing data because it went too fast and I couldn't grab it, type of thing. And you learn through those experiences that some of these beings are very quick with their telepathy. Some of them are very lightning fast because they're so used to communicating that way. And we're building the muscle. We're building the muscle to see the images, to experience the images, and to continue forward, talking to other beings, talking to them in being able to have that conversation where you can have accuracy is the biggest thing. Being able to have accuracy and understand in the moment, like, hey, being able to say, "Hey, this moved too fast. There's too much information. Can you slow down? Can you send it another way?" That sort of thing. He had some irritation because I'm a human, and so that Antares being, he was like, "Oh, I gotta slow myself down because this human can't speed himself up," type of thing. But we were able to come to a space where he started using more thought. Uh, Instead of sending me images, using thought that translates into words, that translates to in your mind into English, into understanding, that sort of thing. So when you're working with beings, if you come across one and you're like, I don't understand you, you have different methodologies to communicate with them, to sit back and go, hey, can you send me images? Can you send me a feeling? Can you send me words, English? Can you use symbols? Can you use your fingers like sign language and draw? The same way you would communicate with somebody on our planet who doesn't know your language and trying to understand them is the same thing you would do with galactics and other beings. So telepathy it's a much more than just this idea of like hearing people back and forth. There's a very complex uh, uh, experience with that, because you can be experiencing all of that all at once from one being. They can send you the knowing, the imagery, the words, the symbols, all this stuff, the feelings, the emotions that are with it. You can feel their emotions when they send you imagery. You can feel their emotions around it. And then that even goes another layer, because you can get into memory work where you actually transport yourself into the memory and experience it the way they experienced it, which is a completely another topic, but just coming into my mind as I'm talking here. So things can get very complex with this experience. And just know that if you're on the waking journey and you're experiencing hearing something or feeling it, and you're confused and you're not, you want to be like somebody like me who just hears the whole knows and hears the whole thing type of full understanding. Know that it took time to get there. It took time, it took effort, it took building the muscle. It took me, I was in a space where I could focus solely on this and didn't have to worry so much about like day-to-day life. I don't have kids right now. I was freelancing at the time that I was really working on those telepathic muscles, and I was able to work 3 hours a day and do my projects, and then go meditate and do the work, follow them into the woods, whatever it was. Um, so understand this stuff does take time, and for those of you who are like, oh, I'm not there yet, I want to be there, you're all where you're supposed to be with your abilities based on your vibration, and you can't just jump steps. If you go from here to here and force yourself, uh, it's not the best experience. It's a jolt, and it can have uh, it can kind of backfire if you force it, because if you force it, that's where people get into mental health issues and all these other things. So thank you. That's my talk about telepathy for today. Thank you for watching. If you feel called to support this work, please visit my website, awakenwithwillow.com, where I have spirit art readings and divine counsel transmissions and things that you can get to accelerate your journey and help yourself out. Some clients have called them spiritual guidebooks, tools, really great tools to reduce fear around galactics and that sort of thing. So thank you all for watching. Grateful for each and every one of you, and I love you all.